Welcome to We Use Our Powers for Good. We're Dory and Meg, two sisters, 10 years apart, using our powers for good. We talk about grief, life, love, and everything in between, with humor, honesty, and the hope that what we're learning might help you too. This is what it looks like to practice compassion, hold boundaries, and stay connected, even when life gets messy. We're so glad you're here. we're, we're sitting in this sticky, humid porch. Okay, we're at episode 5 of this 6-part series. In this series, we're talking about we had a family crisis and we've all come together and supporting each other, and we're sharing about what that looks like to do, not just for the person that's in crisis, but for the people in the different layers and tiers of your family and how you might start navigating that or try to.
May I add, it's not even been a year since my brother took his
Oh my
life.
God, right?
So there's this extra
Right,
heaviness to it.
right. For sure. Proceed. Okay. So, this 5th episode, we're going to talk about gathering your network. So, gathering your network, and then in that, then the network can make a plan. So, I kind of want to go like layer by layer here. So, I'm going to use an example. A couple years ago, my daughter had this big health scare. She's fine. It's like it turned out to be something that was very fixable, let's say, just to keep it simple. She's just a kid. So, the plan that we had in the tightest of circles, which was me and my partner and then her dad, is just tight, need to know this is what we're doing. The adults are sharing data and facts, and then we're just supporting and nurturing my daughter with as much info as she needs to have. And then for me, then I went and connected with all my siblings who are my people and my trusted, they've got my back. And then some of my dear friends, and I'm like, I need some prayers. I'm going to need some meals. I'm going to need these specific things. And then because of where I'm at in my life, I could be super specific, right? Because that's where I'm at. But that also works for me. I don't want to have a whole bunch of big giant conversations because I want to be present in this. Um, and so we then had a plan, and I gave them more details and need to know things. And then because she's a kid and she was in school, I had to go a layer out and tell family, friend, like her friends. I had to tell their parents, like only give them enough information just so they knew that what was going on. And then tell teachers and the nurse who kept calling from school because, she appeared to be sick and all these things. But that there were multi layers of things here, different amounts of information exchanged, but I want to be super clear. 99% of what's shared in these layers and in this plan is facts and information and needs. This is not gossip. This is not drama. This is not meddling. So if I had anyone starting to ask questions that I didn't want to answer, I just said, oh. So on the one hand, I know the difference between someone that's like wanting some gossip and then someone that's just curious. I could choose to answer more or not. I have no energy for drama or meddling, so I have, some people in my life that like to do that a little bit. So the minute that they would do that, I'm like, oh, I totally get why you want to know. I don't have the energy to share that, and it's instantly done, right? But the point being is that the space in the plan and in the tiers is really clean, and it's just about best meeting my daughter's needs. And then because in the last episode, as we talked about, I got to get my oxygen mask on, and what that looks like is, hey, in these different tiers, this is what I need from each of you. Um, yeah. So then if we take that into this most recent experience with our family, how we're using that is, and do you want to talk about that a little bit? Or you want me to?
Sure. I mean, it was aside holding space, creating a plan, and then also what was interesting is because it's the component of our brother,
Mhm.
it was also this extra layer of, do you feel safe? How do you need me? What can I do for you? This checking in of
Mhm.
what specifically can I do for you? What tools do you have? How can I supplement? So it was, yes, that and deeper, it
Well,
was.
and so what you're saying too, just to kind of use the other episodes leading up till now, and if you haven't watched the last 4, I would encourage you to do that, is in these different layers, and we'll kind of go in and talk about that, about the different layers within the storyline of our family crisis in the last week, um, is you're allowing him to be where he is, but then also using your tools and asking questions to really figure that out so
Right.
that you meet him where he is versus trying to make him change and be what you need him to be so you can move on. I
Right.
mean, you're not doing that, but just
Right.
as an example, right? So what I'm saying is that all these tools that we've talked about that you want to keep in place for yourself to make sure that you're in check and not imposing and what's that called projecting on people. Um, you got to do that with the people that are in the core
Mm-hmm.
trouble.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are most in need right now, you want to keep your checks and balances for them and with them, not just the person that is having the
Right.
experience.
Because in the other component is this is not easy.
Right.
Staying active and listening
Mhm.
is not always easy when you're connecting dots. You're going to navigating how, what, where, when, why. When staying focused is what's, or staying in the moment is what's needed.
And what do you mean active listening? What's that mean?
I'm perhaps rethinking what they're saying in their head, or can you say that in a different way, or how does that mean for you? Because I remember at some point we were all talking and you were like, I thought you already knew that. We already established that. I wasn't taking it in fully
Mm.
because I was still just sort of shocked by something else. So circling back to fully understand what was needed of me so I can clearly hold that space, be that container, be that so that we
Mhm.
can ripple out and become stronger.
Mhm. And it
And
also, oh,
it
go ahead. I'm
it
sorry.
just kept a lot of repeating
Yeah.
or like looking at it from other angles. Also, are you okay in sharing this? This is what this communication is looking with like. Does this feel okay for you? What I'm hearing is this.
Hmm.
Is this what you mean?
Right. So
I
like
could do
repeating
that.
back.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Anytime there's a misunderstanding or we're confused, you're just asking for a reframe or a
because
repeat.
right, and in family crisis, it's big, it's heavy, your heart's racing, you're on the verge of tears or you're crying. There, it's a lot of big feelings, and I think the norm is to be like, I'm okay, good, bye. Okay, let me
Right.
know if you need anything. It's like what we're talking about is above and beyond and much deeper than that. And
Right.
it's not easy. We make it sound easy,
Right.
but it's getting into the nitty gritty and from that root place of love and compassion, hopefully,
Right.
this heart centered space.
Right.
Um,
And active listening also includes, and this is really interesting in our culture because people are listening to then hear the break for when they get to speak. So in this case, like I was just doing that right now. We're filming a YouTube,
right,
right? Which is different than I normally am letting you finish your thought,
right,
take in what you said and then respond. So active listening also includes listening to truly listen to what
right.
someone is sharing. I'm not listening to then think about what I want to say. No, I am listening to genuinely listen to you.
Because what I noticed this past weekend, and then also what I noticed around when my brother died was there was like there were so many moments like I didn't hear what you said. No, I don't
Right,
think you told me that. And it's like, no, I totally know. I we both are elephants.
right,
And so it's interesting. I that's part of the stress that
right.
the listening isn't there, or you're
Well,
not
and you can't absorb
right,
the normal volume of information that you could have before the stress happened.
right.
And once you've got a ton of stress, your brain doesn't gather data and hold data the same way. I mean, it will again someday, but not when you're under a
Yeah,
ton of stress.
yeah. So really holding space for each other, communicating, re communicating again and again to make sure we're all on the same page so that we are this clear, concrete plan.
So as we were sitting and kind of making a plan for our sibling that's in his family's in crisis, and we all have different tools, mind you. So it's not like all of our siblings have the same tools that Meg and I have. They don't, and the tools that they have they use differently, right? So we not only kind of have to fully understand where each person is at, and then meet them where they are, and then name this well where they are, and not try and get them to do more than they have the skills to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's lots of questions and like refining and can you repeat that? And is this what I heard you say? And there was like a lot of silent moments. We were all just kind of trying to take in what they said. And for me, like as an example, I would sit and just try and feel where they were to figure out what I might want to say. And there were plenty of times I knew that they didn't have the capacity to hear more than what we were saying because it's a lot,
Yeah.
right? Um, but so I'm going to kind of go anything else that you want to share about that?
Mm-mm.
So then in this example, so the core family members that were in this crisis, we as siblings, not the sibling in it, the siblings outside, we had a gentle plan. What that looked like, we're all communicating and sharing data points so we at least have similar information, right? It's just factoids,
Yeah,
right?
we're on the same page.
Right. So then separately, because Meg and I have more tools, and this is not about better, like Meg and I are better. I mean, we're great, but
But we were asked.
right. We were asked, but also it's about because Meg and I have more tools, we're defining between the two of us, like what's the bigger picture of what we could do, how we could hold space and love them. And it's just then making sure that our intentions are super clean, right? So, and what that could look like, depending on the tools that you have, is like, just you keep love and thoughtfulness and kindness. That's at the core. So, whatever we're saying is stemmed from a place of grace and love and kindness, not well, I want this or I want that. It's like, oh, I just want to be helpful.
Mhm.
I want to be loving and I want you to know that you're loved.
Consistently.
Right. It's just simple.
Yeah.
Right. And then as siblings, we were then able to go a layer out, the four of us. I always feel a need to say the four of us that are living, right? The four of us then made a plan which looks different than the plan that Meg and I have. That's different than the plan that we have with another brother, right? So I'm just saying you're going to have multiple layers and things. The goal, though, is that you're communicating so you have as much information as you can have so that you're just being intentional that you're operating from a similar place. They certainly, because they're under a ton of stress, don't need all of us chiming in with the same
Mhm.
exact thing, which is different than we're all chiming in saying, I love you. I'm
Right.
here. You can't do that too much, right? Right.
Mhm.
Is there anything else we want to add? I'm just reading. Yeah, and I know I said this, but I'm going to repeat this again. The core people that are in the stress, the more stress that you don't have the capacity that you normally have, right? And so just being respectful of, we also are meeting the people that aren't in that primary stress, that core family. We're meeting that core family where they are, respecting their limits, not expecting more from them than we can,
Mhm.
and loving them all right there and trying to keep our own bananas out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what this lovely love fest container looks like. Right though?
you
I
you
mean, like
gotta
that's how you weave it. This is what your village
yeah.
does.
And I love the Love Fest container.
Love fest
We
container.
gotta trademark that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Um, okay, so gathering your network and making a plan, but then being mindful that you're going to have lots of little plans, and the core plans should center around being supportive, being loving, being, oh, and having tons of grace with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for being here and join us for the final episode where we kind of pull this all together. This is what healing can look like together with tools, laughter, and love. If this conversation meant something to you, share it with someone who could use it. And if you want more of what real connection sounds like, hit subscribe and come along. Thanks for joining us on We Use Our Powers for Good.